How y'all doing, everybody? This is RadioRebelEars.com with another episode of the Rebel Ears podcast with a special guest today. We got Ricky Raw in the building. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm feeling about 100,000 trillion. How are you?
Man, I'm good, man. We had the discussion before we started. You know, we've been on the go. We've been on the go.
Stay on the go.
Yeah. So with that, because I know you're getting ready for 404 Day next Friday, I'm excited for that, man. How you feeling for it?
I feel great. I'm tired. I'm on my PR mission. I've been just doing interviews, podcasts as much as people will let me, and
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and then you were just on a radio station not too long ago, what, like 2 hours ago?
Yep. WAOK Atlanta.
So let me talk to you about when it comes to you getting sponsors and then brand deals, because you got a lot of people that gravitate towards 404 Day from the beginning to where it's at now. How were you able to solidify those like partnerships?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So I like to share this little detail, and that's that when I first started 404 Day, I was certain that I'd do the first one, and by the second year, Delta, Home Depot, and Coca-Cola would just be
At your front door.
yeah, just being like, hey, let us get involved, and by about the third or fourth year, I felt the exact opposite. I was like, no one's ever gonna help you. You just gotta just do this all by yourself, and you gotta, source this money. And then this year, we're blessed to have more sponsors than ever, and I would like to encourage everyone to hit up Xfinity.com for all of your communications needs.
Oh, there it is.
There
the
it
QR
is.
code's on the back, too.
Right on the back, yeah. Schedule your appointment, 404 Day, which is kind of a joke, but also it's very true, and we've learned how to cohabitate, and I call myself a habitual team builder, starting rap groups, big events, and the thing is to find overlapping goals, right?
Yeah.
So one thing is, I know I'm gonna pass out 5,000 of these flyers. We're creating common goals as a habit, right? So I'm like, one example is, I got these 5,000 flyers, and then in my brain, I'm gonna go out and hand these out. So the it's not even the back, the other side of it is valuable. So if I'm gonna pass it out, the back of it would normally be the company that printed the flyers, Clash Graphics.
Normally,
shouts out. So they would get 5,000 flyers passed out to promote them, and that's just one example. So this year we have Xfinity on the back. They came in and covered some of our infrastructure costs in the park, and they're gonna have an activation there. So lining up with the sponsors is basically finding your common goals. One thing that we've learned over 14 years is curating the event to the point that it's safe, but it's also fun. It's fun for families, it's fun for young people, and it's, not too perfectly padded and safe, that it's just like a cheesy thing.
It's good for the community.
It's good for the community, and it's still fun, but the daytime event is definitely more aimed at family-friendly kind of vibes, and then we have a lot of different stuff at nighttime, and we try to just have the appropriate partnerships for every environment and every location. So, aligning with brands like Coca-Cola, Sprite Chill, and like Patron, Bacardi, and Grey Goose, those are all like, they work really well in the park, and then they also apply to like nightlife. So it took a little while to find those common wins, but once you get there, and then I really just do my best to over deliver. Like anyone who's given us some support outside of what our basic deal is, I make sure I deliver 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 extra deliverables. Like I might come in here and be like, hey, Fresh, over here at Treehouse, would you carry some Bacardi or, carry some Patron or whatever? And usually I can carve out a couple extra things to deliver them. And
the art of negotiation.
Yeah, that's it. And just finding those common goals, those common goals and those common wins. It's the same thing we do with all the artists. We give them an artist spotlight where we help propel their career in any way we can. This year we'll be doing interviews with the artists.
Nice.
Something similar to this where they get some good media that they can use on their social media and really just deliver on, all the ways that we can.
Yeah.
You know, coming up with bells and whistles to deliver everyone. So
Okay. So one thing that's big, because I do know using flyers, of course, normally on the back, you have the branding team that makes the flyers, because of course it works hand in hand. But for the fact that you saying that Xfinity, because a lot of people can't just get a sponsorship with Xfinity. They
Right.
gotta see the paper trail, because that's the thing about it. From 404 day when it first started to where it's at now, was years of grinding, years of not getting enough sleep, years of making those calls, networking, and like you said, you over deliver. So you made sure for a fact that people knew your work ethic for a fact, like, okay, Ricky Raw, I know for a fact if he is on it, he's gonna go ahead and over deliver like he normally do. That's your signature.
thank you. I hope so. That's what we've been. That's the brand. That's
Yeah.
the association and the brand that we're trying to build is that of over delivering. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, I think that is missing, especially because as a background as audio engineer, when I'm in a studio, I'm basically in the line of customer service.
Yep.
Because when it comes to the client or the artist, I'm trying to make sure they're satisfied with the end product before
Yep.
it gets mastered.
Yep.
And then a lot of engineers, they feel like, I put my hands on it. I need to do more than what's needed. But, of course, you want to provide a service and make sure the client is satisfied.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You know, just getting. I've actually learned. This is how I aligned with Sprite and Coca-Cola and Xfinity. It was very similar conversations. Oh, okay. So I'll give you an interesting story.
Yeah.
When Atlanta United reached out to me last year, I was at the beginning of my season of like trying to raise money. You know, we're trying to put together like $25,000, $30,000 to put this event together.
Yeah.
And I don't have any money yet. Atlanta United reaches out. I'm like, all right, I need $20,000 as the top line sponsorship. And that conversation went cold very quickly. And then I kind of revisited in my mind, like how to approach these things. And when I spoke to Coca-Cola, when I spoke to Xfinity, these guys, I'm saying, you guys tell me everything you would like to do.
Give them the option.
Tell me everything you want to do. Tell me how much you think you should pay for this. And I'm going to try to say yes to everything you're asking for. And so you reverse engineer the conversation that way, that as soon as they're reaching out, you're like, you know what? Don't ask me the price.
Yeah.
Tell me everything you want. Get them talking.
Deliver on their demands.
Yeah. Get them to describe the nature of the relationship. Because we used to make sponsorship decks every year. This year I didn't make a sponsorship deck at all. I just answered all the emails with the same attitude, which is like, you tell me what you want to do. You tell me what the budget is. And if I can make it work, then I'm going to make it work for you. Absolutely. And that's why we have so many partners this year, because all of them were a specifically curated partnership, that was based on exactly what they wanted. And we're like, oh, this is easy for us to deliver with what we have. And so the relationship can build a lot faster that way than when you
when it's organic. Yeah.
And when you're hungry and you need the money and you get a call from Coca-Cola or Heineken or Patron or whatever, and you're like, I need $10,000. They're just like, okay, slow down, champ.
Yeah.
And if you reverse it and just start listing all the, getting them talking about all the things they want, and you're like, yes. Now,
it makes it easy for you to deliver, because you know for a fact, okay, this is literally the checklist they want. I just gotta go through the checklist and get it done. As soon as I'm done, I'm good.
And that's it. And then let them describe the price. And then even if the price was $1,000 and you thought it was a $5,000 package, then I will say something like, okay, I'm gonna give you the $5,000 package for $1,000. When we deliver it and check off everything and we give you all the assets and the imagery, when we give you, what up, ATL? When we give you everything you were asking for, I'm gonna ask you to come back next year with $3,000.
To negotiate the deal, yeah.
And build the relationship. Be like, okay, I'm giving you the 5K package for 1K. Next year, give me closer to what it's actually worth. And the next year, give me my full 5K, and let's ride that wave for a few years. So every single thing I do, I'm like, here's a great deal on this year, but when I check all these boxes, I want you to come back when you get all your budgets for next year and give me closer to what I needed for next year. So this year I didn't have to spend a lot of time chasing anybody down. I just had everybody saying, hey, we're coming back next year. We're going to come back with a little bit more because last year was great. And, all year long, any of these people that have brought me any resources, I'm reaching out and saying, hey, I had this idea that might help you. And they might say no to 90% of the things I'm saying. I'm firing ideas at them. They're like, no thanks, no thanks, no thanks. Maybe that one, no thanks. That one's a home run, no thanks, no thanks. And but they see that I'm now on their team, and they experience it all year long, and then they're like fully ready to jump on board the next year. And then we've already discussed, hey, next year the price is going up a little bit, and so they're ready. And so we're able to build, and we can spend less time fundraising, less time worrying about getting the money, and more time doing cool stuff. Like
what can we provide that's entertaining?
Right.
Yeah.
How can we deluxify the deliverables? And we're finally getting to that point that we get to have fun with, like, not being at a bare bones budget, but having a little more than we need, so we can do things like book all the Atlanta mascots to come out, for a dance-off early on in the day. So there's a little teaser for y'all as to what might be happening at 404 Day 2025.
And one thing I do like what you was talking about, because of all the sponsors, because I counted, that's over 20 of them.
Yep.
And then from what you was talking about from the previous year, you're not thinking of like short term, you're thinking long term.
Every time.
A long term investment right there.
Every time.
Yeah, that's smart too. Because like you were saying, instead of, going through a template of past emails they used to do, you make it organic. And that's a big thing, because they can engage for the fact that, okay, I already know Ricky Ross' background, he over delivers, and I already know in his email, he wants us to let him know what we want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a smart business move.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and it's I think this one thing with being a rapper, an entertainer, an artist of any kind, and when you need sponsorship money, the goal is to make the phone ring, right? Like, you want people reaching out to you. You want people being like, hey, we want you for this show. Hey, I want you on my song. Hey, I want to book you to be an artist and paint a mural on my wall. You're trying to make the phone ring. So if I can make these people reach out to me, then my next step is to get them to explain everything they want from me. So I've got all that, and then I can build from there, as opposed to when I'm reaching out, really, I'm just guessing what they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we have been lucky enough to start to make the phone ring this way, which is a really hard and long process to get people reaching out your way.
Yeah.
And then, like with the Atlanta United story, I learned to, when the phone rings, really take it slow. Just like, dating.
Yeah, not rushing.
Yeah. Not jumping into the top dollar thing, but just more letting it build organically, like you said.
Be present at the moment, knowing for a fact, okay, there's a lot of money on the table.
Right.
All right, let's get this money.
Don't act like it's not your first time. Act like you're rich. Act like you already got it, and it'll come to you.
Because in the end, you got it.
Yeah, you got it.
You got it.
I act rich when I'm broke, and I act broke when I'm rich. That's my little one of my new songs. So when
I like it.
I'm in there and I need the money, and I gotta just think like I already got it. And when I got it, I ain't got no, I'm saving it. Like I'm not spending it when I got it. So.
And I do believe when it comes to that mindset, it shifts, because when you have everything going on, everything is lined up, you don't really feel the pressure. And sometimes it aligns you feeling comfortable. And I feel that, especially in business, anything you're doing, even as a creative, you should, be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Get into the struggle.
Yeah, you learn a lot from it. And from what we discussed, it sounds like you learned a lot when it comes to the art of negotiation, when it comes to...
One thing that I think is probably one of the hardest things to do is when you are faced with opposition, and people trying to get in your way or stop you or compete with you or doing all that, and it's difficult to not... It's easy to get caught up on this person who's working against me, or this person who's working in competition, or this person I thought had my back, and they, now they're doing something different, and not aligning with my goals, even though I feel like I've worked as hard as I can to align with them.
Yeah.
When that happens, which is often, it's difficult to not be like to get locked in on that, and you got to kind of let that go and continue to focus on the best possible outcome.
Yeah.
And so you're not thinking about this person that isn't aligning with you. You're just think about everyone who is aligning with you. And even if it feels like 100 people are against you and one person is with you, then just focus on that. Focus on wife, focus on your business partners that are standing by you, because if you let the opposition, if you let the ops control your mind, then you're living in opposition. And if you let the supporters control where you're at, and you're like, okay, I'm swinging for the fences for my partners that are there for me, and they're bringing resources to the table, and I just really want to deliver for them, and I want to picture this successful outcome for them, then that's the mindset you're in, and you're ready to receive your blessings, and you're not showing up to the meeting feeling like there's opposition. You're showing up to the meeting feeling like there's opportunity.
Yeah.
And if you believe it, then it'll be there. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but I'm way big into manifestation. A lot of things that
Speak it to existence.
Yeah. I rapped about things and then made them happen. Like I'll rap about having some money or being successful in a certain way, and I'll put it in a song, and then a few years later that thing will come true, and it's wild how that happens. But I think that's one of the most powerful things about rap music, is that you hear these rappers, they rap about having money or something before they really do, and then you do. Not that it always works, but
if you're driven, you're consistent, got that discipline, hey, you can make it work.
And you believe, you like know it's coming. You're not waking up and like wondering if it's coming. You're just like, it's not a matter of if, but when. And that's how I felt with 404 Day. Is I was like, it's not a matter of if it's going to be successful. It's just how long is it going to take, and being ready, just
when
like just as an artist, to be ready to say, you always think this next song is going to be the next one that's going to blow me up, and you need to feel that way. But as long as you're ready to do 10 more songs and 10 more albums and 10 more years of just, it don't matter, I'm not going to stop, then you're ready. Then it'll be 3 years into what you think is going to take 10 years, and you'll get some kind of.
And then when it happens, you'll be like, oh, quicker than expected.
Yeah, there it goes. But you got to be preparing that 10-year plan.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you get lucky in year 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And that's how I've always done everything. Everything's been a long-term. The name of my production company is Party in the Future, because I'm always trying to see the future. I drink a lot of espresso, and just try to think about the future. Just try to see it. I sit at my desk. Most of what I do all week is sitting at my desk, just thinking about how things are going to unfold and shape up, and trying to see that ahead of time and get ahead of the curve, and it's starting to work out. You spend enough time thinking about it.
So you try to make your thoughts tangible to the fact like, okay, I know in 2 months, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Put it together.
Boom. That's it.
Sometimes you gotta speak it to existence, but also work on it. A lot of people, words are powerful, but if there's no actions behind it, then it's just, just words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta work.
Gotta work. Even after this, you gotta work too. I gotta work. Shoot.
Yeah, I'm on my way to work. So, it's nonstop. You get in motion, you stay in motion, and really learning to love the struggle.
Yes.
Will be everything. Because I think it's crazy, because when you're in the middle of something that's tough, it feels intimidating. But when you look back on it, those are always your best stories.
Yeah.
There's always, I was sleeping in my car. I was, taking a bath in the local bathroom, the gas station bathroom, kind of like this, and it was cold out there, and I'm like building a fire in this abandoned house, and these are all things that I've done at a certain time in my life, but
it helps you to be driven.
And they're the best. When you look back, you're like, you're proud of yourself, and those are your best stories. People, once you kind of make it, and you're sitting in the padded, everything's comfortable and everything, and you have that perfect life. I mean, that story gets boring, and it's nice to be bored when you've kind of been like feet to the fire for a long time. But those are your best stories. The rappers that become successful, they still keep rapping about the struggle. They're talking about the time when I was out there hustling, and those are the good stories. That's the stories people want to hear. So
people can relate with.
Yeah, and the harder your struggle is, the better your story is, you know. And if you got everything laid out, if you make a hit on your first song, chances are you might not make another hit because you just went from you didn't build
0
that
to
muscle.
100, yeah.
You didn't build that muscle of like I wake up and just work on this every day. So if I made 10 songs this week and one of them hits, I'm ready to make 10 next week because I'm in shape. You know
Yeah,
what I
you
mean?
gotta keep pushing.
And the same with the events and any kind of work. You know, you just got to stay, you know, working at it and build that muscle.
Yeah, for everybody who don't know, April 4th, 404 Day. Okay, get it off my face so y'all can see the flyer at the bottom. So many sponsors, like legit sponsors. Hey, you got to make it rain. You got to make it rain. But I'm just looking at all the sponsors, and I'm just amazed for the fact that this is something that I bet in the beginning you was thinking on the future, and you know you got something tangible of your hard work.
Yeah. We're hoping Delta, Home Depot, hit me up next year. We trying to build 404 Week where we encourage the whole country, the whole world to come visit Atlanta during 404 Week and get the most Atlanta culture you can in a week. You know, we're talking, want to have all kinds of rap shows, of course, poetry, comedy,
You name it.
live bands, all, you know, EDM, dance music, all that, and then just all kinds of food and local businesses, just like we have in the park. We just want, and I think, so we want to be kind of like a South by Southwest A3C Winter Music Conference, but the difference is that I want it to be all Atlanta people. So when you come here, you're not flying here, you're not flying in people from Texas and California to come perform here. They're flying in to see what Atlanta is doing, and we're gonna
Have them come to the culture of Atlanta.
yeah, and come visit, and like we'll go to Texas to see your Texas day, and California to see your California day. But when you come to Atlanta,
Cali Day, Texas.
then come see what Atlanta is doing.
Yeah.
And you know that's an idea that just kind of formulated over time, but there's just so much talent here. You know, we learned the last 2 years. So last year we're on a Thursday, the year before that on a Tuesday, and we had we set up in Piedmont Park. People were like, nobody's gonna come out to Piedmont Park on a Tuesday. I'm like, I'll call your bluff. I think people will pull up on Tuesday, 404 in the park if we just throw a big party. And we threw a big party. We had over 1,000 people.
And you proved them wrong.
Yeah, out there. And then we had multiple evening events that were different genres, different crews, and they were all well attended. And then last year, did the same thing. We had about 8. We had double the people in the park. We had about 8 evening events, all well attended, all different styles, live bands over here, rap music over here, live art over here, DJs of house music over here, and like 404 dub and 404 D&B, drum and bass and dubstep in a different venue, and just in every single spot was packed. And it was all Atlanta people. We didn't bring in anybody. We didn't spend a whole bunch of money on a headliner. It was all just these, I call myself a habitual team builder. And in the 404 D&B, 404 dub, we have 4 partners in there that were all good at what they do and tapping into their market.
And working together.
And when we did at Smith's Old Bar with live bands, we had bands that all had a big network and were good at inviting their friends out and doing the job of promoting and recording music and doing the artistry. And then we had the DJs at Crazy Atlanta. We had big, I say big, but I mean big locals, you know, people that like play out a lot and have a big network, and they packed that place out. And none of it was like a big budget. You know, it was all very like, we're just gonna split the money up evenly, accordingly, and pack it out together. Just work together without any like big name or any big expenditure, just working together in a coordinated fashion for months leading in. And we just made sure all these places were jumping on a Thursday night with all locals, you know what I mean? And to me, that was just, I was really proud of that. You know, people are like, you can't promote 8 events of all Atlanta people on a Thursday night. We get all those guys aligned, and the next thing you know, because we got the founding forefathers of the rap music in Atlanta, then we have every of the next generation and the next generation being like, how do I get down? How do I get down? So, you know, over time, learning how to build that momentum, that's what you learn over 14 years is how do I get this person, you know, a few years ago I booked Kato on the track, and he was able to bring out B.O.B.
Oh yeah, shout out to Kato.
Yeah. So you bring in the right producer, then you start getting big rappers because you might not know that producer, but he knows all these big rappers. So when the producer's in, then they can get a better deal on the rappers, and it's about finding your path, and often it's a little different than you think. You might think I want to reach straight out to B.O.B. And it's like, but when we reached out to this producer, he was like, how about I bring out B.O.B.? And you're like, psh, wow, you know what I mean? Like, I was just thinking you come out and do a beat set, and then he starts bringing out Jaron Benton and Scotty ATL.
Oh
and then
yeah,
even,
shout out to Scotty, Jaron, yeah.
And we're still working with Scotty, and if anybody want to get a grill, go get
Scotty ATL, yeah.
Get one of your grills by Scotty on Edgewood. Yeah, so it's that network and finding, just kind of chipping away until you're mining, you hit something and like boom, and the network just kind of like
blossoms,
takes off. So when I booked Mojo, the first rapper out of Atlanta, his management's like, talk about I got the franchise boys. I know Young Dro, I know all these people, and he's ready to open that door, and where a lot of people aren't ready to open the door, but then you find that one person who is, and you're like, boom, let's now, instead of thinking about all those people who said no, I'm just focused on this one guy who's telling me yes. And I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And he's ready to talk to me. Yeah. And I probably spent 3 hours on the phone. He goes by Pun, Big Pun, not the rapper, but shouts out to also Big Pun, the rapper, but Big Pun, Mojo's manager. And he's just ready to chop it up. And so I'm like, cool, I'm waking up every day talking to you about what you think we should be doing. And so I'm focused on the people that are working with me, and I'm not putting no time into these people that are not working with me, not putting no time into the competition. I'm just...
You're putting your focus where it's needed.
Right there, and where it's appreciated.
Yeah.
And so that's been a big stepping stone for us this year. I wouldn't even call it that, a big leap, like a platform to take off. Take off ATL on Tuesday nights at Treehouse.
485 Flash Shows Avenue.
Yeah.
Come through Tuesday, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Hey.
You're an artist, come through. You're a producer, come through.
I think I'm gonna come rap this year, this
week. For real? Hey, y'all heard it. Ricky Ross gonna be in the building. Yeah, that'll be dope, man. Hopefully I can see you. But before we get off, I got 2 questions I'd like to end off with. So,
dope.
Name the 2 goals that you want to have before the end of the year. I think I already know one.
Okay, let's see. Well, 808 Fest right here on the hat is a big one. In August, 808, we're looking to build that into the 808 Fest Dance Party and Producer Summit. So we want to have producers essentially coming in, doing workshops, learning tricks of the trade, learning about new software, new hardware, obviously production tips, obviously networking. Hey, you've got the hookup with Scotty ATL. I wanted to get him on a verse. Can I get his number? Can you put in a good word for me? Whatever the appropriate intro is, so a lot of that is what we want to be going down at 808 Fest. And let's see. And my other goal is to remember to enjoy the struggle, because I have a very hyper-focused personality. So if I get hyper-focused on back, to the opposition, or to a girl who hurt me, I'll be sitting there, I'll go to sleep and wake up thinking about this.
Sometimes you forget to get lost in the moment.
Yes, but so if I hyper-focus on things like 404 Day and 808 Fest, I'm still waking up and going to sleep thinking about this, but there's results that come with it. So that's, again, focus on the positive instead of these negative things, because there's no good just thinking about the opposition all day. You're just gonna leave yourself grinding your gears, where I'm learning to, every year I remind myself to enjoy the struggle, realize it's supposed to be hard. So when you wake up, you're like, man, I can't believe this challenge that just presented itself. You're like, okay, these are the problems I signed up for. Enjoy that struggle, and then just stay focused on the positive, and learn, and then remember that it's supposed to be fun. If you get, for me, I'm like, this ain't warfare. Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's getting, this isn't, it's not that serious. So remember to have fun while doing all this.
Hey, make sure to have fun. And the last thing I want to say, is there a tip that you want to give for those who's trying to do what you do.
Yeah, I wanna give 1,000 tips. Call me up. I got you. I offer consulting. I think the simplest thing is just really lean in on. I think we kind of get caught up on there's this big entity that I wish would, if they would just open the door for me, then I'll be good. You know, this record label or this big brand. If Delta would give me this money or whatever, and we get caught up on these things, and we're forgetting about, you know, maybe your girl is right there trying so hard to support you, and you're like, yeah, but I'm trying to get in this door over here, and you're forgetting to nurture the relationship that's nurturing you. So that's my tip, is just really, if forgive my language if this is a kid show, but fuck with the people who are fucking with you.
It's not a kid show.
Yeah. So if they fuck with you, fuck with them. You know what I mean? Like, don't close the door on people just because they might not be the exact door that you're trying to get through. You know, because these people what I've learned over the years is you meet somebody in one place, and 10 years from now, you know, someone like Kato, when I met him, he was like trying to get on the stage at Lenny's, and I looked at him like kind of like a new young guy. And then 10 years later, it's like, whoa, Kato, would you please come and get on this? So I'm like, I'm glad that we've become friends, because it was not about where he's at now, but seeing the trajectory of people. If you're able to see the trajectory of people,
and treat people with kindness too.
Treat everybody with kindness, no matter where they're going, no matter what they're doing. But you might see somebody who's not somewhere, but you're like, I see that work in you. Let me build with this person, because the people that are already on, they're not going to do you any favors. But people who with a lot of grind and they're not going to get shut down, those are the people you want to align with, because if they're not there yet, they're hungry, they need you. So line up with people who aren't where they need to get yet, but are working in the right way, and then y'all will build something worth something together. And then you'll have everybody calling you, trying to get on and being like, how come you won't open the door for me? And you know, then when you can, open the door for people, you know, help people up. And there's people that'll help you up, and that's it. Keep the network building, and you know, treat each other like you want to be treated.
Yeah, keep going, keep going. Well, Ricky Raw, I want to say thank you again for coming out. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
thank
have
you.
some good gems.
Yeah. Thank you, ATL. See y'all 404 Day, Piedmont Park.
Hey, y'all gotta be there.
Yeah.
From everybody at Rebel Ears, want to tell everybody thank you for listening and watching. Keep tuning in.
Yeah.